The Alton Towers Resort are building brand new rides and investing in big projects, year in and year out. This year alone we've had Jewel be completely renovated into Curse at Creepy Girls Manor, and of course alongside that the Egg Viewing Museum reopened too. Next year in 2024 we have the big arrival or re-arrival of Nemesis when it gets reborn. But all of the hype surrounding these rides, especially Nemesis because the construction for that is bloody going crazy, has made everyone forget about their brand new roller coaster opening the year after in 2025. So I thought after it was recently approved, why not go through and talk about it again, because it's not being talked about at all at the moment, and go through some of the new documents and also some new speculation. You know what time it is? It's time to subscribe, because if you do want to keep up to date on all of these projects that are happening at Alton Towers, then this is the place to be. Click the red button, it'd be greatly appreciated. So as I said in the intro, the year after Nemesis rebirths itself in 2025, because of course that is after 2024. Funnily enough, that's how years work, thanks. Alton Towers are set to open another brand new ride or attraction or roller coaster, whatever it is, under the codename Project Horizon. Not Secret Weapon this time. Oh, how absolutely abhorrent. And it's going to be in the back corner of the park between David Walliams' world and the dungeons. Now, as I've gone through what the plan of this ride is in multiple videos on this channel, for those of you who may be new here, I'm going to go through a minute-long lesson of what the basics of Project Horizon revolve around. Why is it happening? Why? Are you ready? Here we go. With the area between Walliams and the dungeons being behind fences very far from reach, it was impossible to know what was going on back there where Project Horizon is going to be. But due to some devious and extremely clever people, plans were found to have been submitted under that codename for this brand new ride. The main thing they've submitted planning for is a massive building. Just look at that. But because the building's been permitted, anything inside is also permitted. So we're just not going to know. In actuality, they haven't planned anything inside. It's just going to be an empty warehouse. The building is set to be 71 meters in length, 46 meters in width, and almost 20 meters in height, which we realized in a previous video. That building can fit quite a lot in it. There's even going to be a slight porch area in front of it, you know, like a 40 by 10 meter building, I believe. I don't know why I just called it a porch. It's not a bloody house, is it? And the building shape is supposed to look like this. From there, we know nothing more. We know there's going to be an entrance area, a plaza, a queue line, obviously. But it is very strange and mysterious. What could be in there? There we go, the lesson is over. Round of applause. I mean, we've reached a point where you should know all the basics to the Project Horizon. And before that lesson, if you knew everything anyway, why did you watch it? So as said at the start, the reason I brought this all up again is because one, no one cares about Project Horizon right now, and rightfully so. Look at how beautiful Nemesis is looking. And two, because the 22nd of June was the date a letter was sent granting Alton Towers full permission to build this thing. I mean, if you read down this really long letter, you can see, well, the most I can get from it is the fact that no work is going to take place on Sundays or bank holidays. So if you visit then and you hear some noise coming from that side of the park, it's probably just the gangster granny cannon. There's something about the lighting not being too intruding and too illuminated, so I imagine that means the building itself won't be lit up during Scarefest. And that this project is going to require some excavating, all that malarkey. Although that being said, if it does require some excavation, will we see them dig down into the ground like they've done before? They could do. I mean, the plans only show that they're actually going to excavate certain bits of the terrain to put the actual building in, so it might not be allowed inside. I ain't got a scuba. You're going to hear me say that I don't know a lot of stuff in this video. A lot. Because I don't know a lot of stuff. And one main thing that has gone forgotten for some time is what on earth is this ring on the top of the building? What? Why is it there? Is it actually a theming piece like it states? Is it a placeholder for track that's going to come out of the building? Or, I mean, if that is the case, then they're just being that secretive that they've turned the track into blocks. Is it like a structural thing? I have no idea. I mean, even if it is the theming piece, which it probably will be, what is the theming? I mean, worst comes to worst, bro's about to see the first intellectual property come to Alton Towers. Oh, wait. But yeah, that ring thing makes no sense. I mean, as well, the building is supposed to be a green colour, obviously, because if you've seen with Rita, there's a certain part that's quite high up that needs to be green, so the neighbours can't be shouting, "Get it down!" So if the building is green from that point of the ring height, they've got to make it look decent, you know. Although one thing I have realised by probably reading too much into the plans is that this isn't going to be a massively thrilling coaster. In this file here it says the design rationale is to create a new attraction within an underused area to ensure the resort continues to attract families across its core target age range. This is vital to its success in a competitive industry. Attract families. that says it all. But don't sit there and think that this is going to be an awful coaster because it's a family coaster. It's going to be really slow, boring. Because 2 family coasters in the park are 13, which is not really the fastest, but it's quite thrilling nonetheless. And of course, Wicker Man, which, oh my god, that drop should not pick up that much speed. But with it being this family coaster with probably a little bit of edge of thrill, it just makes me stick towards what I think is going to be in there more. But I'll get onto that, because something that might help us make a conclusion is the cost of the project. £12.5 million this is going to cost in the end, which obviously is a lot of money. But when you compare it to the likes of the Smiler which they've built, that cost upwards of 18 million. So 12.5 million, especially in the economy we're in now, isn't too much. It all depends on whether they're going to factor in the theming into that cost, because if the theming cost as much as it did for Wicker Man, then we might be onto a very good ride. One coaster you could compare it to is Movie Park Studio Tour at Movie Park Germany, because when that was made, it probably didn't cost too much, and I believe that building is of very similar dimensions. Yep, that's very similar. But then again, something like Uncharted at Port Ventura, which recently opened, cost over 20 million apparently. So that's a bit out of the budget here. But yeah, I think Alton Towers are going to do a great job, and it'll be a heavily themed experience inside. We may get a good coaster in there with a launch or two, but it can't have a lift hill. It'd be so small. But theming wise, they could spend approximately £2.50 on a second-hand brick wall, and I would still go around clapping, because what theming? Yeah, that's been on my mind every time I talk about this, and I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this channel. The 12.5 million it's going to cost. Does that mean it's going to be a good ride or bad? I don't know. The site right now looks like this. Wow, look how barren it looks. I mean, yeah, it might have been cleared out a little bit more since these photos, but it's still just a wasteland of random scrap. And you know what? As much as some people may slate the Towers of Alton, I'm still hopeful that we're in for a treat with this ride. For the size of the building and for the uniqueness that Alton Towers would probably want from a coaster, I'm thinking it might be an Intamin multi-dimensional coaster, much like Movie Park Studio Tour that I talked about earlier. Very compact, but also very technical. It's got loads of different switch tracks, loads of different launches back and forwards. It's like, and it could even be like Dark Coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg that recently opened. That's an indoor roller coaster, and it basically goes through a launch and then goes through the layout a bit, does another launch, but then eventually it uses the same layout it's already gone through, sort of with a switch track after the station. I don't know, I've not done it, and goes round again, basically minimizing the use of space by using the same layout going round twice. I've heard when it does go round the second time, it does use different show scenes and certain different things flash up, so it could be like that. That would be quite cool. I just can't quite put my finger on it. But maybe you can. Be sure to comment down below your opinion on Project Horizon and what it could be, because I'm going to use those creations that you make with words in a part 2 and actually try and make them sort of simulated, basically in Planet Coaster, see what it could be like, and also give them a realistic feel of whether it's actually possible. Subscribe to make sure you know when I drop that video, and also when I find out whatever's in this green building. Cheerio!